The reason I'm giving you so many of these problems is people tend to make mistakes here, and that's why I want to spend this extra time here. I'm going to begin by factoring out 4/5 on this next problem. I'm going to have x squared plus something. Now let's think about what we're doing here. 16 divided by 4/5 means I'm going to multiply by 5/4. The 4 will cancel with the 20, or 16, making 4 times 5, which is 20. So I will have a 20x there, leave a blank, close parentheses, slide that -8 to the right. Okay, now I can cut my 20 in half to a +10, square it to a 100. But that's not 100 I've added, it's 4/5 of 100. That's an 80 I added, so I have to subtract 80 on the right. Completing the square, I'll have x plus 10 quantity squared. I'll bring my 4/5 down along with the y equals. Combine these values together on the right to get -88. Our vertex is going to be located at -10, -88. We know that we've got a kind of slope of 4/5. So if I go 1 to the left, I'm going to be at -9, something. 1 to the right, I'll be at -11, something. Actually, those are kind of reversed. And if I rise 4/5, I'm going to be at -87.2. And because of the symmetry, that'll be at either of those points. Now I need another point to substitute in, and I really don't want to go super far to the left and right. I'd rather substitute in a value like 0. Notice how that is 10 units to one side. I'm going to have a 20, 10 units, -20, 10 units on the other side to compensate. Now let's substitute 0 in. 0 squared, or 0 plus 10 is 10, squares to 100, times 4/5 gives me 80, minus that 88 gives me -8. And sometimes it's easier just to use convenient values to find these additional points. Okay, now we're back to graphing and labeling the vertex and the x-intercepts. I notice right off the bat that this is going to factor into x minus 5 times x plus 1, and that my x-intercepts are going to end up being at 5, 0, and -1, 0. Let's plot those on the graph right now. -1 and +5. Now we know that our vertex by symmetry is going to have to be halfway between these two, and so it'll be above and below this 2. So rather than completing the square, let's try something else. Let's do an xy chart and substitute 2 in. 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 2, that's 8. So 4 minus 8 is -4, minus 5 is -9. That tells me that my vertex will be down here off my grid at 2, -9, and without completing the square, I'm able to graph this. So there's another technique you can use without completing the square.